Welcome back to the Crypto's Key conversation. I'm going to jump straight into the content on this one, man. I'm really excited about it. Heat is real. I'm going to just jump straight into it because I got a lot I want to cover. So obviously starting with this one, just from the other day, DAI had put up this quick little 30-second video clip, and we're just going to listen into it. We've played it on this channel before, but we're going to listen into it because it's going to tie everything in as we come together at the end of this video here.
Decentralization, and that's what the Hinman speech, which tracks my memo pretty
And I don't want to hear about the audio. This is as high as it can go.
well, has come out and said, and the Hinman speech has generally said, okay, decentralization, we think, gets both Bitcoin and Ether out of securities law status.
So that's pretty much what I wanted to cover from that perspective. So obviously we know that was already a thing, right? So right here it says, now that we have had multiple crypto lawsuit decisions, can any crypto securities attorney point to me a judge in any of them discussing the fifth prong of the Howey test created by Bill Hinman that to this day has the SEC leaving Bitcoin and Ethereum alone while saying all other digital assets are fair game? So tying into this, Steven Narioff himself says, speaking of, real quick, 870,000 views. So, hey, they're talking about this hitting a mill ticket by Monday. So we'll see. Steven Narioff says it's, quote, agency created law, whatever that means. And how exactly did Ethereum even satisfy this magical agency pixie dust? Is it possible that some people knew it wasn't valid when giving or advising on the speech in the state of Ethereum, perhaps even under oath? One would almost think William Hinman, Mark Berger, and even Jay Clayton were sent to SEC for this very purpose, joined by career folks who helped execute the plan like Valerie Chapinick, John Enright, John Daniels, and others. I'm sure this is all crazy talk and everything isn't as it appears. Okay. So obviously, if you've been paying attention in the community, this has been going crazy. So we talk about like having a true whistleblower. Hey, this is going to turn into some crazy stuff. And as we continue to go through this video, you'll see that the ball is already massive and already rolling downhill. And it's just a matter of time before this thing blows wide open. So continuing on here, DAI says, where you at, Warren Davidson? I know you are a good guy with good intentions, but man, this is just one of those situations where you just have to do the right thing. Call for an investigation. Be the hero before it's too late. That's 100% correct. JD responds to Steven Narioff's tweet says, when everyone starts looking into everything, including what the government did against Narioff, dropping all charges against him after he had made it clear that he would fight back and seek full discovery. You don't have to wear a tinfoil hat to suspect multi-agency coordination with the SEC taking lead. So all that speculation and all that FUD and negativity that was pushed and pressed on the XRP community for being wild conspiracy theorists and wild speculation, right? We were right. And this is just another fact. It's not opinion based. This is fact. So looking past hashtag ETHgate and the timeline and everything, Steven Narioff himself, what more is going to be uncovered? You talk about, as they say, somebody finding, the buried bodies, if you will. It's right here. It's right in front of us. And as I get closer to the end of this video, you'll see that things are really starting to heat up, and it's just a matter of time for this thing blows wide open. DAI responding, for those that don't know, this guy who helped keep the Ethereum founders out of jail and came up with Ether as fuel, this retweet is a big deal. And that's the thing that's crazy. It's like just out of nowhere, right? And we're just like, what is going on? Finally, right? We all are just like, finally, come on, let's go. Keep pressing it, keep pushing it. We got to keep spreading this word here. Continuing on. Let me make sure I get this right here. Yeah, so JD's responding, says Lil Ness has been A16Z's crypto's attorney for from the first day. Clayton tells him to reach out to Lubin, who is represented by Clayton's firm. December 13, 2017, Lubin meets Hinman. The next month, Clayton tells Chris Dixon to write a memo of what they want SEC to do. Ness writes it and gives it to Hinman. The only token mentioned is ETH. Lubin meets 3 to 5 more times with Hinman, including with Vitalik Buterin. June 4, 2018, Hinman calls his entire speech the ETH speech. Hinman also met with Ness and Dixon and A16Z. Hinman follows what A16Z wrote in the memo. Today, Hinman is a partner with A16Z. Yeah, nothing to see here. I mean, for us, it's not surprising, right? Us in the community, we know the facts are undisputed, and they've been undisputed for years now, but it's like, for other people in the community that was calling us wild speculators and conspiracy theorists and all this stuff, even the likes of Charles Hawkinson's, this is evident right here. This is just another thing. So we're continuing on here. DAI says, I bet dimes to donut the Ethereum founders were blowing each other's phones up today. So I think he was referencing, what was this? Yesterday, what's today? 17th. So 2 days ago, right? And bet dimes to donuts, that's, you know who that is. Mr. Dimes to Donuts, having all that inside information, right? Continuing on here, I like that Ashley Prosper, I put this up. She says, it appears that Stephen Aroff is pointing us to some individuals who may be involved in ETH financial crimes. I find it interesting who he included in the post, like the U.S. Treasury and this lady down here, Christine Duham, a former global bank anti-fraud officer. My interest is piqued. It says, and I believe that statute of limitation for some financial crimes the ETH folks may have committed expires around June 2024. Time to dig in again. Okay. This is what kind of gets my mind going. It's like, okay, if we know this whole statute of limitations things is the thing, like, what if this was the whole plan in general, right? You know, send, Chairman Gensler and put everybody in place, right? So if this thing ever was to come back on us, we can have statute of limitations, or, they prolong everything as long as possible to protect themselves, especially now that we been uncovering this stuff and it's out there, right? Congress may not be responding, and all people in positions of power that can actually open up an investigation and start subpoenaing people, right? Obviously, they're not doing anything. So they're like, okay, how long can we push this off? And we know that based on the evidence that's out there and the facts that are out there, there's some powerful people and groups that are involved in this thing. So of course they don't want to have this stuff brought to the light and be public. So they're going to prolong this thing and do whatever they possibly can to get to these statute of limitation time frame. So we'll see. The community is going to keep digging though, which is awesome. And I'm going to keep making videos just like the rest of the community and spreading the word on this X.com stuff. It's just huge. So we have another one here because Stephen Aroff's responding to Crypto Eddie's tweet. Let me make sure I got the date right on this. So this was today. So Crypto Eddie says, hello, Stephen Aroff. Thank you for taking notice of conversations about the ETH ICO. As you said, this was a dangerous area and you took it upon yourself to figure it out legally. You had the former SEC chairman chime in. Who? And who are the 15,000 participants? So coming up here, Stephen Aroff says, former SEC chair was Joe Grunfest, who has integrity which seems out of fashion. As to the number, I now realize one can't tell the true number of ETH ICO buyers, as it was explained by some how wells could disguise their large positions during the ICO. Violation of terms of service against speculative buying. Hard to imagine anyone Ethereum doing this. And if they knew others would do, surely they would have told SEC regarding concentration of ETH holdings before the B0MB law was enacted. I might have the doc version by the author of the TOS, or Terms of Service Against Countless Documents, Recordings, etc., all stored in a number of locations. I may not have knowledge or items of importance given claims I exaggerated my role, though. I guess it's possible I got some info if I was lucky enough to talk to an important co-founder. Either way, I suppose an effective way to silence me would be to prosecute, publicly discredit, or ultimately attempt to imprison me. Turns out this is actually what happened to me for the past 4 years until I proved the entire case was fabricated from the government's own documents, including SEC, and got almost unprecedented dismissal with prejudice. SEC, DOJ, FBI joint effort, and oddly some familiar Ripple names against others, Mark Berger, John Enright, John Daniels. And when I said dangerous areas, I didn't suspect so-called friendly fire, traitors, and treasonous. To me, crypto and the country. This thing is literally, how do you say that the pressure is so high. It's I don't know how it's still contained in this thing isn't blown open, right? And I'm just gonna continue. JD's gonna make you so excited. So Mr. Huber says, just like, imagine for once this was a founding member of a Ripple. The media would be all over it. Just imagine. But it's a founding member of second largest cryptocurrency, Ethereum, and none of the established media like CoinDesk, Cointelegraph, CNBC, Andrew Ross Sorkin seems to care until now. Why? Maybe Coin Bureau? So, yeah, I mean, that's a good point. Like, if this was a major founder in Ripple, oh, dude, it'd be everywhere. Scam this and that and shady business. And we all know that, right? But we've been covering how plugged in these, so-called credible and reputable media platforms. We all know they're all in the pockets of the people that are involved in hashtag ETHGate, right? I mean, come on now. It's just shameful. Now, this is interesting. So JD, and this already got 63,000 views. Dang. Okay. So JD's responding to Steven Narioff's response to Crypto Eddie, right? So he says, a long time ago, I put out a timeline of indisputable facts and authored the Ethereum Free Pass article published on Crypto Law US. The article and all the facts I shared did not bring me new friends in the crypto industry. I was labeled a conspiracy theorist for stating facts that to this day has never been refuted or claimed inaccurate. That's a huge point. Chris Dixon of A16Z blocked me because I shared the fact that in January 2018, Jay Clayton told him to, quote, put together a small working group and produce a memo of what they wanted the SEC to do and to give it to Bill Hinman, or similar words to that effect. To be clear, I didn't say or imply that Chris Dixon did anything wrong. I did note, however, that it was clear that Ripple wasn't invited to be a part of this handpicked small working group, even though XRP was at the time the second largest crypto by market cap for the most part of 2018. ETH was number 2 and XRP number 3, but there was moments where XRP overtook ETH, including January 2018, which I was a part of the crypto of that space, and this is a fact. And you can look at, do Wayback Machine, and you can check it out for yourself. It says, sharing a video posted by Digital Asset Investor, so DAI, I pointed out that attorney Lowell Ness claimed Hinman's speech closely tracked the memo written by A60Z attorney. I also pointed out that ETH was the only token referenced in the safe harbor written by Ness. Of course, I also pointed out that Hinman was paid millions by sharing profits from his firm that was a member of the Ethereum Enterprise Alliance, so the EEA, and was also pushing an IPO of a company that sold ETH mining equipment. I said that these massive conflicts violated 18 U.S.C. 208. Later, after being called a conspiracy theorist, we learned that Hinman was told by SEC ethics to stop violating the law, yet he continued to do so. The Hinman emails and his deposition and testimony prove many of the things that we had said for 2 years. Crypto Law US, using the efforts of the XRP sleuths, created a chronological video timeline by posting some of the relevant involved players' video clips. The one thing that the public community has not had, however, is a true insider who was there and knows everything and has the receipts to prove it. And he's tying in Steven Narioff here. It says, it appears one of them, Steven Narioff, is starting to speak out. By the way, don't forget that Joe Grunfest, after helping ETH through Narioff, was the one who wrote to Clayton and SC pleading with them not to file a lawsuit claiming XRP was a security. This isn't a person in the world that can challenge the credibility of Joe Grunfest. He essentially said giving ETH a free pass and attacking XRP was morally, ethically, and legally wrong, which we showed that on the channel, back a year or two ago. I have a feeling that things are about to get interesting. From my research and the research of my sleuth friend, Steven Narioff might just know where all the bodies are buried. If he does and kept a copy of the map showing the locations, it's about to get real interesting. And remember what I said in the beginning of the video. He is real. This is I can literally... Oh, I want to cover this. He says, I usually don't. Okay, so we're going to cover this part of it coming up here soon. But I can literally go through this and just people are excited. People are starting to post more stuff. Obviously, I can't stand seeing all those scam things. But we're going to continue. He says, I usually don't share private conversations, but I reached out to Steven Narioff to see if he would come on Crypto Law US. I warned him, however, that unlike the SEC or Hinman, I would not give him a free pass on crypto law, as I would ask him tough questions such as the disguised wealth and who must have made millions from it. I'll be honest, I assumed Narioff was one of them and warned him that if he came on my show, I wouldn't dance around the topic. He told me that he turned down the ETH offer to him and that he actually spent his money because he believed in what they were attempting to do. I said, bullshit. He then responded that I, of all people, should understand when someone would do something he believed in for free. Although I admitted that was a good response, I remained skeptical. Under agreement of confidentiality, He showed me proof of his claim, which involved emails with as high up the ETH chain of command as you can get. At some point, I hope to have him on Crypto Law US. Let me make sure he didn't write anything down here. Real XIP boy. Send it. So continuing on here. Cowboy Crypto says, the ETHgate whistleblower is the real deal. Everything we've been saying has been confirmed. Justice needs to be served. This could be a step in the right, or step in the direction, and I hope to see Steven and Crypto Law in the near future. Which, man, me too. This would be massive, right? DAI had put up this video clip, and I'm gonna play it, man. It's 4 minutes 16 seconds. It says, "Regulation is the friend of the incumbents. Regulatory capture, hashtag ETH." Great credit for the second part. This is Mr. Huber here, and it says, "Hey, Stephen Arioff, you were from the beginning too. What can you tell us about JP Morgan involvement before the public mainnet launch that Lubin refers to?" So listen into this. Matter of fact, actually, let me cover these two really quick, and then we'll play it. So let me go ahead and move this over here, and let's play these. So I just wanted to show this. It says, the list of all asset managers that have applied for spot Bitcoin ETFs: BlackRock, Fidelity, Invesco, Franklin Templeton, Wisdom Tree, VanEck, Global X, ARK Invest, Valkyrie, Bitwise, and it says a total of 17.7 trillion under management. If they put 1%, I mean, they just put 1% of their assets under management. I mean, this can be massive, right? And then this is interesting. Elizabeth Warren calling to investigate Elon Musk, right? Says, after serving 10 years in Congress with an annual salary of $193,000, she managed to increase her net worth to $73 million. Come on now. Laughable, right? All right, we're going to play this, right? Crazy.
He's the 1982 Nobel Prize winner in economics and the father of regulatory capture. This is his most famous quote. "As a rule, regulation is acquired by the industry and is designed and operated primarily for its benefit. I like to say regulation is the friend of the incumbent." Quick audience interaction moment. That's the one thing I want you to take away. So on the count of 3, scream, "Regulation is the friend of the incumbent." 1, 2, 3. Yes.
I can attest that JP Morgan was there right from the start before public mainnet was even launched.
Amen. All right. So this is the only slide I have with bullets, because this is going to be a 2-minute regulatory capture 101, all from George Stigler's notes. The first thing he says, in regulatory capture, a special interest is prioritized over the general interest of the public. Sound familiar from my other stories? Leading to a net loss for society. A net loss for society. That's important. The two mechanisms they usually use is the second bullet: limited market entry and price protection, or even price increases, which I'll show you more of. And then the mechanisms of influence are money, made worse by Citizens United, exposure, just time around people, and then 3, revolving doors. This is super important, and I'll show you one great example of that. That's people moving in and out. When they interviewed Christy on the pod the other day, they were talking about this in the military.
So you seem like pretty chill. You're like, oh, we're just going to take care of this ourselves, and you're not worried about any of the token projects.
I think it's prudent for the SEC to let people know that they're watching. And
when we look at how Ether today is operating, at least, we see a highly decentralized network, and we don't see a central third party. If we look at Ether and the highly decentralized nature of the networks, we don't see a third party promoter where applying the disclosure regime would make a lot of sense. So
Ethereum violated the law in the SEC's view when it issued its tokens. He said that in the speech, even though like consensus says, oh, no, that's not what he said. That's what he said. He said, but then he said, look, the securities laws really, it doesn't add anything now because Ether is decentralized. Again,
they're saying that Ether used to be a security and now it's not a security anymore.
They said that without opining about whether it was ever a security or not, we do not consider it a security.
the SEC is tooled up now and very aware. Today it would shut down a sale structured like the EOS sale before it was able to turn on its first billboard in Times Square. So sorry about that. Yes. So instead of the vertical. So we are big friends and fans of that organization, I think. So very much in the United States. We had Valerie from the SEC, and so we're very familiar with many people at the SEC, even with all the good work that our friends at the SEC, our friends at the SEC. There's an SEC official, I think her name is Hester Pierce.
You mentioned Jamie Dimon, so let's bring it back to Jamie and JP Morgan. What do you think is going to be the thing that they will have to change the most or lose market share and somebody else is going to do better, faster, serve their clients better than JP Morgan or Goldman Sachs?
You can just hear the bankers panicking right now.
But what
feel the panic in their voices.
And that's, that was it. Let me go ahead and pause this real quick. Yeah. And that was it, man. This is the beginning of this chapter, this part of the book, or this part of the story. Clearly, DAI, JD, the rest of the crypto community, hopefully Steven Aroff isn't trolling us or trying to feed us all this stuff to get us all excited and really not follow through with things. Obviously, we know the facts are the facts. They're not in dispute, and they haven't been in dispute for years. So it's just a matter of, when this thing really blows up. It's not if, it's a matter of when. So it just depends on how much is this thing going to be opened when it is. Hopefully this thing just gets completely obliterated and it's all out there. But yeah, I know this was a longer video, but this is huge. I'm excited to continue to update on this topic, and hopefully I don't get too crazy busy this week during the school week here. And not able to make a video, but we'll see. Make sure you come to the Crypto's Key Conversation YouTube channel, subscribe, follow us on x.com at cryptoiskey1. I really appreciate your support out there. With all that being said, stay strong out there, be safe.